we're talking trenches philosophy. This really comes back to John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan versus the Eagles brain trust of little Howie Roseman from Brooklyn, who moved to Jersey.
Yeah, he moved to Jersey, but he's from Brooklyn. I grew up with so many.
There's not a lot of Jews in sports, but anytime there's one who's successful, we gotta thank you, Howie.
Howie. People don't get named Howie much anymore.
No, it's a good name. Power name.
Howie.
You think Howie, you think 6'4", quarterback, blonde.
Yeah. I've seen Howie. He isn't. Anyway, here's Howie. Let's compare him to John Lynch. First of all, what I said, Fangio in the defense is the MVP of the Super Bowl, but maybe Howie is. Yeah. Because Howie has the vision.
Mm-hmm.
He has the largest screen you can imagine. And he's the one who said, we need to start at the basics with the building blocks, right?
Yep.
We're not going to do all the fancy stuff first. We're going to do the building blocks first. And we can win with that. Even last season, when they didn't do well, they didn't have a 6-win season like the 49ers. This guy really knows what he's doing. And he has the power, i.e., and this is something he mentioned to me the other day. If Sirianni has a bad season or two, Howie Roseman, he'll get rid of him.
Yes, I love that about that organization.
John Lynch can't do that. He can't say, "Oh, we're going to get rid of Kyle." Kyle hired him.
Yes.
Yeah. So first of all, he doesn't have the power that Roseman has, and it's my hypothesis that he doesn't have the vision. Now, he went to Stanford. He allegedly is a very smart guy, although he always says, I'm convicted, or he's convicted. But I don't think his vision of what it takes to build a winner today is consistent with what football is today.
No, and I think what's interesting about their background is it's polar opposites. John Lynch sort of has the traditional background of an NFL executive, played the sport, was a media guy. Howie Roseman didn't play football. Howie Roseman was in the media. Howie Roseman was a cap guy. He was a numbers guy. And he taught himself the sport and understood the value of these players. And he has the biggest vision. But he's not like some guy that's in the Hall of Fame because he hit hard and ran around. No, he had to work his way up for 25 years to get to this spot.
Right. And that took a lot of homework, persistence, and learning. Whereas this was gifted to Lynch.
Mm-hmm.
Iggy.
And to Kyle.
Yeah, you're right. And to Kyle. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Now, they did have Adam Peters for a long time who, like Howie Roseman, worked his way up from the bottom. And he's doing a good job in Washington. Now I think they need to bring in someone else to replace Adam Peters. I don't know that John Lynch can step up and fill the void. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he'll do it this year, but he didn't last year.
No, he sure didn't. And again, what I've said, the combo of Lynch and Shanahan, when it comes to enforcing rules and setting a standard for what that team will accept in behavior and what it won't accept, is mushy. It's very flabby. It's very weak. It's not the case with the Rams, and it's not the case with Philadelphia.
Yeah. And what's interesting is, the Niners have made similar mistakes to the Eagles. Like the Eagles traded up for a quarterback from North Dakota State once upon a time, Carson Wentz. And it didn't work out. Now, he was a lot better than Trey Lance. Niners did the same thing. But it seems like Howie Roseman, his mistakes are like very few and far between, and they've never ruined him. Whereas the Niners, you're looking at what they have to do this offseason. It's like, okay, you need to remake your defensive line. You need to remake your offensive line. You need linebackers and safeties. They have so much to do because they missed on so many draft picks.
Right. And it seems like when Roseman makes a mistake, he corrects it right away.
Yes. Seems like he's also planning years ahead. Like, I'm going to need an offensive lineman because this guy's going to be a free agent in a year or two. I'll draft one now, as opposed to the Niners like, oh, damn, Aaron Banks is gone. We need a guard.
Or the left tackle, Trent Williams, he's getting old, but we need to extend his contract because we're holding on for dear life. You don't hold on
Yeah,
for dear life. This Roseman is planning like Bill Walsh was 2 or 3 years ahead. I don't think Lynch is. I think
right.
his job is to patch up in the present. He's always putting on band-aids as opposed to having a grand strategy.
I mean, it's okay if you want to have a 36, 37-year-old left tackle. That's your business. But it would seem to make sense that you would also need to draft a player that you have waiting for when his career ends, which could happen at any minute. And that's what Howie would do. He had Jason Kelsey for a long time, older player, but he drafted Cam Jurgens 2 years before Kelsey retired because he knew it could happen anytime. He was ready for it. By that time, Cam Jurgens was strong. He'd been in the system. He knew the offense.
Yeah, that's how you run it. And by the way, with the left tackle on the Niners, his career may be over now.
We don't know. It's true.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't know. Hey,
No.
there's a question mark over his head. Is
Yes.
he going to play all 17 games?
He hasn't
He's
played
not
all
going-
17 games in a season since, I believe, 2013. So, no, he
Yeah.
won't.
No. Yeah, you sort of want to have a guy who plays.
Yeah, and so, like, the Niners, I saw some videos online, some articles, how the Niners going to catch the Eagles. I don't even think they got to worry about that right now. They got to worry about catching the Rams and the Cardinals and the Seahawks. They went 1-5 in their division, and they have $50 million in cap space, but they're going to have to extend Purdy, or they want to. They're going to have to extend Kittle. They have a bunch of free agents they want to bring back. How are they going to get better? Rookies?
Yeah. You know, Eric Branch, I think it was he who wrote, and I think Matty Mayoka also talked about it. How are they going to catch the Eagles? Which, by the way, is a very good topic. It's a fair topic.
Yes.
So, God love them. I would like to talk about that a little. And first of all, I agree with you. Their sights aren't on the Eagles. The Eagles will kill them. If they were to play the Eagles next season in the playoffs and whenever, the Eagles would kill them. The way the Niners are currently constituted, I don't know what's going to happen. So you're right. They're in no position to say they're a threat to the Eagles. The question is, are they a threat to the Arizona Cardinals? The Cardinals killed them twice. That's where they are, Iggy. I read somewhere that you said somewhere that they were sixth choice to win the Super Bowl or get in the Super Bowl.
They have the sixth best odds in Vegas to win the Super Bowl.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
I think now they may improve the team and bring it there, but they haven't yet. And they're depending on a left tackle who gets hurt. They're depending on a running back who, God knows what's going to happen with CMC. I don't see how you can say that. Iggy, you're better at this than I am. Let's go slow. What would the 49ers need to do in this offseason to challenge the Eagles in terms of personnel on the field?
Okay. So again, starting from the baseline of football, I don't think the Niners can even compete. I don't think a team can compete with the Eagles unless their offensive line is either incredible or their quarterback is very mobile, like Jaden Daniels, and he can throw the ball quickly and move. He did a pretty good job against the Eagles this year. That's not Brock Purdy. I think the Niners would fold the way the Chiefs did against the Eagles, or maybe even worse. So they need to upgrade left guard, center, right tackle. 3 spots in one offseason to approach what the Eagles have on offense. That's the beginning. And then after that, their whole front seven, the whole thing, D tackle, DN, linebacker, they can't stop the run. And Dre Greenlaw, you bring him back, great. He could be there for a 1 game or 2 before he gets injured again. I mean, we don't even know if he can play a full game of football anymore without getting hurt. So they need to overhaul the front seven, not just the trenches, the linebackers too. It seems like a 2 off-season job, at least.
And while you do the 2 off-season jobs, some players are getting older.
Correct. Yes,
like the running
because in
back.
2 off seasons, Kittle will be 34, and then it's like, well, I need a tight end.
Yes. As great as Kittle is, you can't hold on to him forever like you hold on to Trent Williams. You don't do that.
Also, as great as the Niners, I mean, as many great players as the Niners have, it's been shown the last 3 seasons, if they don't have Christian McCaffrey on the field playing his best, they're just not a very good team. So a lot depends on him. If he can come back and be special for 1 more year, they have a chance. I'm skeptical that he can come back and be special again.
Yeah. I don't know if I mentioned this on the broadcast before, but I spoke to a doctor who is, let's say, deals with a lot of athletes. And he said he's concerned about McCaffrey making a full comeback because he said he had the two Achilles tendonitis. He feels, he can't prove it. He never, uh, examined him. But when he went down in that game, fell down with the knee, that he was probably running differently because he had hurt his Achilles and overcompensating in ways we may not even have understood. And that led to the knee injury, which means that it's a pretty complicated situation there. Iggy, did I explain that okay?
You did explain it well. Now, the Niners, their official story is that Christian McCaffrey banged his knee on the turf on the previous play before he went down and took himself out, and that the turf was frozen, and that's when he injured his knee. But I don't necessarily buy that. He stayed on the field. He stayed in the game. He was in the huddle. He got the ball. He took a cut like he thought he could make the cut, and then he went down. So
he did.
I wonder when exactly he heard it, and if it was just completely out of the blue or related to the Achilles, like the doctors thinks it might be.
Yeah. Well, this doctor who is knowledgeable feels that he hurt himself because he was previously hurt and he was running a little differently. Not his fault. He was doing the best he could, and that led to the knee injury, to the falling down. And that this doctor is a little skeptical that he can ever really bounce back.
Right, and you would call that like an overcompensation injury?
Yes, indeed. That's another way to say it.
Yeah, and Nick Bosa had the same thing during the season. He said it. He injured one oblique, played through it, injured the other one. Said it was an overcompensation thing. He was trying to not injure it further and injured the other one. Klay Thompson did the same thing a few years ago after tearing his ACL, came back, rehab, tore his Achilles. These things happen.
Yeah. Now, I hope McCaffrey is fully healthy. Stanford guy. I love Stanford guys. I hope he's fully healthy. But a doctor I respect didn't say he won't be okay. He said he has his doubts.